Good afternoon. How are you today? I'm out in the afternoon because I've spent a good part of the day working on my cases. I like to think of my clients as representing the abused and misunderstood. And it's often true because, in a small way, people hurl insults at each other and allege facts that just aren't true. So it's kind of an extension to be involved in politics and see the same thing, although it's more heinous, more pointed, more people are affected, more dangerous. So that's how I spent part of today. And it worked out, I think, well. You get to find out because you do these things in bits and bytes along the way. On the Hill, I think that front and center is the $1.9 trillion bill to help people deal with the pandemic. I don't think we should do anything to compromise its success, especially since we have to use a procedure that's very specific to budget reconciliation and doesn't allow for doing some other things, including, by the way, dealing with the minimum wage. So it's not a process that allows a kind of Christmas tree for things we want. And I don't think we should be asking for things that we know better are inappropriate for this kind of a bill. And I don't think we should be compromising the minimum wage bill. And I don't think we should be compromising the $1.9 trillion bill that the nation needs so badly. My answer is not to complain it can't be included in the budget reconciliation. It is that it should be a standalone, and you should say the argument, political and substantive, is how could you be against this? And the gradation bothers me too. $15 now. I'm sure some others feel the same way. But it's going to be graduated in all the proposals I've seen so far. So, okay, let's go with that. And let's not tear each other's hair out among ourselves, among Democrats and liberals and conservatives and so forth, about how we're going to deal with it. Let's sit down and deal with it. And those who don't, it should be an issue in the midterms, legitimately an issue. Because the standard of civilization is how we treat our own. In the same breath we have in terms of how we treat our own, we have the most outrageous slanders on the Hill for a transgender nominee. People are saying terrible and stupid things and questioning it. And it's almost like the Republicans can't deal with an idea that didn't exist when they were 7 years of age. The other day, because I enjoy reading some of these discussions, I spent a little time reading an analysis of the allegory of the cave, and that is the perception of people. But it was very interesting thinking while reading these comments that in Roman times and in Greek times, the philosophers of the day, they understood the earth was round. They had the approximate distances right. They knew if they sailed to the west, they would ultimately end up in India, just what you know who in 1492 did believe he could do because the earth was round. But also that we had between some of the Greeks and Romans, we had Ptolemy talking about how the planets revolved around the sun. Okay, so why this reference? Why did it take from then until Galileo, and from Galileo until now, when some people still believe in ignorance what are basic precepts of science? So let's take the Palooka on the Hill who says, I don't know about this transgender stuff, and what are you going to do, and when, and how are you going to deal with this? It's just pure discrimination. I don't say it's not a difficult issue, and to wrap one's mind around it, having not either known somebody or have a family member or having studied it, okay, but do your homework and figure it out, and then do the right thing by legislation, and do the right thing by nominees that we put on the court, and, not on the court, we put in the cabinet. And then when you have a congresswoman like Ms. Green, who says the most outrageous things. It's not even, there is a way to discuss this in which you don't understand it, I suppose, and you can say it better than it's being said, but we don't see that. We don't see that on the Hill. Let's take another question. How about Khashoggi, the Post reporter who was killed by the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia? Some people say, should the Crown Prince be sanctioned? Absolutely. There's no question about it. But we always see this weighing. Oh, we do this with Saudi Arabia. We do that with Saudi Arabia. Well, should we be giving them weapons? Well, maybe not giving, selling them weapons or underwriting the weapons that they get from us. What is that about? So yes, let's sanction. What else is going on? Well, in Syria, we have Biden actually dropped some material on the terrorists in Syria. And the question is, should he have done that without more reviews of the Congress? And Tim Kaine, who's our senator, whom I love dearly, he said, well, he should have gone to Congress first. Well, maybe. But I think that what he did made sense. It made sense in several ways. I'm beginning to think that we're going to think of Biden less like Eisenhower, which I said, the period of normalcy, and a little bit more like some other presidents. And I think that forceful presidents, I think that he's not going to allow the world to believe we're going to be soft on terrorism, either abroad or at home. And any cell group that exists that could put us at risk, how many people will wring their hands if we have another domestic incident because we weren't strong enough when it came to dealing with terrorists abroad? The Hill is a strange place. The opposition, however, seems to have exclusively occupied the space of what is untrue, misleading, dumb, against the interests of the general public, and it's a kind of undemocratic illness that we have to fight to remove. And by removing it, I mean insulating it. I mean voting these people out of office, persisting in the good policies that we see more and more daily unfolded by the Biden administration. And yes, it is a struggle, but it is a struggle that's worth our time and energy, because we've been damaged over so many years, in my opinion. I really think it started with 9/11, that America somehow lost its innocence about something that it should have known and understood, because we had so much going on around the world. I don't want to say that we were simple as compared to European nations, but in some respects, in terms of appreciating world politics, realpolitik, I don't think that we did. And when Obama was elected, and I, like others, took it as a sign of America maturing, America accepting the fact that we really were one. But instead, we had the Tea Party movement, which I think was almost entirely a racist reaction to equality. And Obama was, in a way, a perfect hybrid, a man who had a genetic foot in each of the two areas that divide us, of white and persons of color, and that he'd been exposed to religions and traveled the world and had a difficult parentage with his parents split the way they did. And what he made of himself was amazing. And when I say that, I mean he was the American story. With hard work and smarts, he went to Columbia, my alma mater, and Harvard, almost as good as Columbia Law School. And he went to Illinois, and it was like he decided that he was going to choose that both as a symbolic and an actual foundation for who he would become. So I'm going on a little bit about him, but then I think the fact that Biden was in that administration and the two of them teamed, I think they created a pattern of government that we're now the beneficiaries of, because Biden over the years has learned, as different as he is from Obama, how to do this. And so I think on this Friday, as I marched near the canal, that we're very lucky that we made some decisions implicitly, expressly, and fought for the right things in this last election. And we're seeing the fruit of our rewards, even as the Orange Menace intends to unveil his most hateful thoughts and expressions over this weekend. And I think it will be interesting to see, not in the sense that I'm hankering after it, but I'm expecting to see something less of him in the sense of his appetite being more transparent than usual. So I will be talking to you tomorrow. Have a good weekend. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.